7 months ago, I ran an experiment I expected to fail. I had a part-time virtual assistant. She handled my calendar, sorted my inbox, did basic research, scheduled my meetings, cost about $1,200 a month. I told her in October I was going to try replacing her with AI for 90 days. If it worked, I'd end our arrangement. If it didn't, I'd bring her back at a raise. It's now May. She's not coming back. But the answer to did AI replace her is more interesting than yes. A specific stack of tools did about 80% of what she did 30% better than she did, and completely failed at 20% in ways I didn't predict. The core of the stack is a tool called Lindy. Not mainstream, but one of the more impressive AI agent platforms I've used. You connect Lindy to your inbox, calendar, CRM. Give it instructions in plain English. When someone emails asking for a meeting, look at my calendar. Propose 3 times that work. Reply on my behalf. Or, when I get an email from a known client, draft a reply in my voice and put it in drafts for me to review. Where Lindy beats a human, speed and consistency, my assistant handled a scheduling request in 20 minutes to an hour. Lindy handles it in 90 seconds. My assistant got scheduling right 90% of the time. Lindy hits 95%. This surprised me. For high frequency, low judgment tasks, AI is actually better than a human. The scheduling Lindy alone saves me 4 to 5 hours a week. The second piece, Reclaim. The problem it solves. Even with good scheduling, your calendar gets messy if nothing's making decisions about it. Meetings clump. Focus time disappears. Your gym block gets eaten by a Tuesday call. Reclaim sits on top of your calendar and protects time blocks based on rules. I have a 90-minute deep work block every morning that Reclaim defends. If someone tries to book that time, it bumps the meeting. Flexible workout block shifts around. Buffer time between meetings so I'm not running back to back. What my human assistant couldn't do well is the constant rebalancing. When a meeting got moved, she'd ask what to do with the gap. Reclaim just makes the call. Moves my flex task into the new opening. Saves me another 2 to 3 hours a week of decision fatigue. The third piece, Granola. My assistant used to ask, after meetings, what was discussed and what needed to happen next. Sometimes I'd remember. Sometimes I'd half remember. Granola sits in every meeting, transcribes without joining as a bot, produces a structured summary right after the call. Action items pulled out. Summary lands in Slack. Where my assistant was the source of meeting memory, Granola is now, and it's better. I can search across all my meetings. Ask Granola's chat. What were the 3 biggest objections I heard from prospects this quarter? Answer in seconds. A human assistant couldn't do that. She couldn't be in all my meetings, couldn't remember everything from the ones she was in. My inbox was the messiest part of the experiment. The tool that finally stuck, Shortwave. AI native email client that sits on top of Gmail. Groups emails by importance. Drafts replies based on your past writing patterns. Summarizes long threads, the kind where 17 people weighed in and you have no idea what was decided. Shortwave doesn't replace inbox management entirely. You still need rules and to train it. First 3 weeks are clunky. By week 4, it understands your patterns. Shortwave plus Lindy handle about 90% of what my human assistant did with email. The 10% they don't is the judgment calls. When an email comes in from someone she knew personally and would respond to in a tone the AI doesn't quite get. The honest part. The 20% AI couldn't do. First failure, relationship work. Remembering to send a message to a former colleague who just had a kid. Noticing a client had been quiet for 3 weeks and might be drifting. Knowing a vendor prefers a phone call when something's important. This requires real pattern matching about specific relationships. AI can flag, you haven't heard from X in 30 days, but it can't read the situation and know what to do. Second failure, strategic judgment. My assistant would push back on my own calendar decisions. You've got 3 back-to-back hard calls Wednesday? You actually want to add a 4th? That intervention is incredibly valuable. No AI tool I tried even attempted it. Third failure, messy human stuff. Booking dinner for 10 people with food restrictions, 3 different time preferences, 1 person who never responds. A human figures out the dance. AI chokes. If your assistant does a lot of relationship management or pushes back on your decisions, AI isn't a full replacement. Human assistant, $1,200 a month for 15 to 20 hours per week. The AI stack, Lindy $50, Reclaim $10, Granola $18, Shortwave $30, supporting tools $30. Total around $140 a month. Saved monthly, roughly $1,060. but honest accounting matters. I spent 60 to 80 hours setting all this up over the first 2 months. That's time you don't get back, and about $200 on courses. So you're not saving $1,000 on day one, you're saving it on month 4 or 5 after the setup amortizes. Since the stack doesn't handle 20% of what she did, I've taken that work back on myself. Relationship maintenance especially. I'm trading some of my own hours for the cost savings. For me, worth it. The hours I'm spending on the 20% are higher value than the hours she was spending on the 80%. For someone else, the math might go the other way. Try this if you don't have an assistant, but you've wished you could afford one. The AI version is genuinely good enough to change your week. You're not comparing it to a perfect human. You're comparing it to no help at all. Try this if your assistant does primarily operational work. You can replace 70 to 80% with AI and reassign her to higher value work. Don't try this if your assistant does relationship intensive work. The AI won't replace her. Don't try this if you're not willing to spend 60 to 80 hours on setup spread over 2 months. In the comments, what's the one task you'd most want an AI assistant to handle? If the stack does it well, I'll tell you which tool to start with. If AI can't do it well yet, I'll tell you that too. Subscribe. Next video is the AI tool that's getting people to genuinely become smarter, not just consume more content.